Have you ever paused to consider the journey your morning coffee takes to reach your cup? This simple act of brewing coffee or buying a bottle of palm oil off the supermarket shelf is part of a much larger global narrative. A narrative that begins in places like Zimbabwe, a nation rich in agricultural potential and steeped in farming tradition. In Zimbabwe, coffee and palm oil aren't just crops, they're a lifeline. They are the backbone of the economy, the heart of the community, and the livelihood of thousands. From the highlands of Manicaland to the plains of Mashonaland, these crops are grown with care, harvested by hand, and processed with skill. But beyond the farms and plantations, coffee and palm oil have a wider impact. They drive the local economy, providing jobs not just for farmers, but for transporters, processors, and vendors. They fuel international trade, with Zimbabwean coffee and palm oil finding their way to markets across the globe. Yet these vital crops are more than just economic commodities. They're woven into the fabric of Zimbabwean society. They're at the heart of traditional ceremonies and everyday meals. They're the source of stories told around the fire, and the catalyst for community cooperation. The coffee and palm oil sector in Zimbabwe is a complex tapestry of economic, social, and cultural threads. It's an industry that's grown from the seeds of tradition, watered by the sweat of hard work, and nurtured by the hopes of a better future. But this industry, like any other, has its challenges. From fluctuating global prices to the impact of climate change, the coffee and palm oil sector in Zimbabwe faces an uncertain future. Yet it's an industry that's shown resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. So, the next time you sip your coffee or use palm oil in your cooking, remember the journey it's taken. Remember the hands that have planted, nurtured, and harvested the crops. Remember the communities that rely on these crops for their livelihood. But let's dive deeper into the roots of this industry in Zimbabwe. To truly understand the present, we must journey back to the past. Our tale begins in the late 19th century when the first coffee seedlings were planted in the fertile Zimbabwean soil. It was a time of exploration and discovery, a time when Zimbabwe was just beginning to find its agricultural footing. Coffee, a crop native to Ethiopia, found its way to Zimbabwe through missionaries and explorers. The early years were tough, with farmers grappling with unfamiliar terrain and battling against pests, diseases, and unpredictable weather patterns. Around the same time, the seeds of the oil palm tree were also making their debut in the Zimbabwean landscape. Brought in from West Africa by traders and settlers, the palm oil tree was a strange new addition to the country's agricultural portfolio. Like coffee, the initial growth of palm oil was fraught with difficulties. The unfamiliarity with the crop, coupled with the harsh climatic conditions, made the early years of palm oil cultivation a true test of resilience for the Zimbabwean farmers. But as the saying goes, every cloud has a silver lining. As the years rolled on, Zimbabwe's coffee and palm oil sectors gradually began to flourish. The coffee beans from Zimbabwe started gaining recognition for their unique flavor profile, a delightful blend of wine-like acidity and a hint of fruity sweetness. The palm oil, too, found its place in the local and international markets, its versatile uses making it a staple in households and industries alike. Yet the journey was not all smooth sailing. The agricultural sector had to contend with a range of challenges, from fluctuating market prices and changing weather patterns to the constant threat of pests and diseases. Despite these hurdles, the Zimbabwean farmers persevered, their unwavering determination propelling the coffee and palm oil industries forward. This success, however, didn't come without its challenges. With growth often comes growing pains. The journey of the coffee and palm oil sector in Zimbabwe has not been without its share of challenges. As the industry expanded, so did the complexities it had to face. Let's delve into the trials and tribulations that this sector has had to navigate. Firstly, the environmental impact. The quest for more land to cultivate these valuable crops has sometimes led to deforestation, posing a threat to the rich biodiversity of Zimbabwe. The high water demand of these crops has also put a strain on the country's water resources. The industry has grappled with these issues, constantly seeking ways to balance growth with sustainability. Then there's the question of labor. As the sector grew, so did the need for manpower. However, securing a stable and fairly compensated workforce has been a challenge. The industry has had to face issues such as labor shortages, poor working conditions, and wage disputes. These are not unique to Zimbabwe, but are prevalent across the global agricultural sector. Market fluctuations have also posed a significant challenge. Global prices for coffee and palm oil are subject to numerous external factors, from weather patterns to political instability. These fluctuations can have a profound impact on the revenues of local farmers, causing periods of boom and bust that are difficult to predict and manage. There have also been key events that shaped the industry. The land reform program in the early 2000s, for instance, disrupted the sector significantly. Many farms were redistributed, leading to a period of uncertainty and readjustment. Despite these challenges, the industry has shown remarkable resilience. The coffee and palm oil sector in Zimbabwe has weathered many storms, yet it continues to thrive. It is a testament to the determination and tenacity of the Zimbabwean people, who have not let these hurdles deter them from cultivating their land and contributing to their nation's economy. The bittersweet journey of growth continues, with hope and hard work guiding the way. Sustainability isn't a choice anymore, it's a necessity. In the verdant landscapes of Zimbabwe, the coffee and palm oil sectors are waking up to this reality, and the aroma of change is in the air. In the coffee plantations, the shift towards sustainable farming is gaining ground. The focus is on creating a balance between nature and the farmer's need. The use of chemical pesticides is being reduced, with a greater reliance on natural pest control methods. The aim is to create a healthy ecosystem where the coffee plant can thrive alongside other plant and animal species. Similarly, in the palm oil sector, efforts are being made to minimize the environmental impact. This is a sector that has faced significant criticism for its role in deforestation and loss of biodiversity. But today, there are encouraging signs of change. The industry is adopting practices like agroforestry, where palm oil trees are grown alongside other crops, reducing soil degradation and improving biodiversity. But sustainability isn't just about the environment, it's also about people. In both these sectors, there is a growing emphasis on improving labor conditions. Fair trade practices are being implemented, ensuring that farmers get a fair price for their produce. There's also a movement towards providing better working conditions, including safety measures and health benefits. The road to sustainability is not an easy one. It requires a shift in mindset, a willingness to change long-standing practices, and a commitment to the long-term health of the industry. But the momentum is building, and the benefits are clear. Sustainable farming not only ensures the longevity of the sector, but it also helps to build a healthier planet and a fairer society. The future of Zimbabwe's coffee and palm oil industry hinges on its ability to embrace sustainability. Today we are witnessing the early stages of this transformation. It's a journey that offers hope not just for the farmers in the industry but for all of us who rely on these vital resources. Where does the road lead for Zimbabwe's coffee and palm oil industry? The future, my friends, is truly in the bean. Zimbabwe's coffee and palm oil sector is teetering on the brink of a new era, an era of growth, prosperity, and sustainability. It's a future where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee or the taste of a palm oil-infused dish will tell a tale of progress and resilience. The potential for growth is immense. As the world's palate for coffee becomes more sophisticated, the demand for Zimbabwe's unique coffee blends is poised to rise. The nation's fertile lands, ideal climate, and skilled farmers are a potent combination that can transform Zimbabwe into a global coffee powerhouse. Simultaneously, the palm oil industry, which has been a cornerstone of the country's agriculture sector, is set to expand even further. With new farming techniques and innovative processing methods, Zimbabwe can increase its palm oil yield without expanding its plantation footprint. This means more palm oil, but no more deforestation. But this bright future is not guaranteed. It requires a continued commitment to sustainability. The coffee and palm oil industries must ensure that their growth does not come at the expense of the environment or the welfare of their workers. They must embrace eco-friendly farming practices, fair trade principles, and ensure that every bean and every drop of palm oil is produced responsibly. Imagine a future where every sip of Zimbabwean coffee or every bite of a palm oil-infused dish is not just a culinary delight, but also a testament to sustainable and ethical farming. A future where the aroma of coffee and the taste of palm oil tell a story of prosperity that is shared by all, farmers, workers, consumers, and the planet. This future is not just possible, it's within our reach. All it takes is the will to make it happen. So the next time you sip your morning coffee or enjoy a palm oil-infused dish, remember, the journey of that coffee bean or that palm fruit is more complex than you ever imagined. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The journey of your morning coffee is more complex than you ever imagined, isn't it? Have you ever paused to consider the journey your morning coffee takes to reach your cup? This simple